What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Assemblage Beverage Podcast. We're your hosts, Mason Aronson and Adam Shoemaker. And, we are super fucking stoked to be here. It's not a brand new podcast, but starting with this episode 24, how the fuck did we get here? We've got some new and exciting changes. How the fuck did we get here, man? Some super exciting stuff coming for Assemblage, new website, new podcast format, new merch, some new YouTube stuff coming out. So we've got a lot of exciting stuff coming your way. And before we kind of get into that, the first and to me the most exciting change, we've got a fucking co-host. We made it. Podcast co-host Mason Aronson. You might recognize his name from episode 23 of the Assemblage Wine Podcast. We've been longtime friends, almost 10 years now. Roommates for almost 3 years. Drinking buddies for almost 10 years. And, between us, almost 20 years of hospitality experience or expertise or whatever you want to say. So Mason, what the hell's going on, man?
What's up, dude? It's good to see you, Adam. Good to be a part of the podcast now as a full co-host. I'm excited to get the ball rolling. Just a little bit about myself. If you didn't already listen to episode 23, just a CIA grad with Adam, roommates like he explained, and just in the beverage and food and hospitality world for forever, my whole life growing up. It's been great. I did a little stunt in New York City at Gramercy Tavern. I did a little beverage distribution in Colorado. And now I'm in North Carolina as a general manager of a small restaurant group that does fried chicken and donuts called Milk Bread.
Hell yeah. I still gotta check out Milk Bread because you brought some donuts from there brought some donuts from there for your bachelor party, which was just the most epic weekend. It was so much fun.
It was a blast.
And even though those donuts were, a couple days old, they were still fucking fire, man. They were so good.
Appreciate it.
So I really want to actually be able to try them, fresh and not a couple days old, because I can only imagine how good those things are. And, how I am about fried chicken too. So fried chicken and donuts,
Can't beat it.
So I want to congratulate you first and foremost on you're now off the market. You're now married. You've been off the market for a while, but now you're married.
It's official.
You've got a wife, and congratulations. Your wedding was last week? Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago, basically now.
Yeah. 2 weeks ago. And
14th of October.
Man, I can't believe that's already 2 weeks ago.
Crazy.
But the wedding was amazing. You two looked great. Alex looked beautiful. You looked handsome. Bridesmaids looked amazing. Groomsmen looked fantastic.
Yourself included, because you were one of them.
And, it was just from the ceremony was great. The reception was great. Everything was amazing. But I really want to focus on A, the fact that you're married, and B, like the beverage service, because this is a beverage podcast. The beverage service for the rehearsal, the wedding, even the brunch the next day. It was all on point. What were you guys serving? Because I don't remember. I drank too much. So tell me what you guys were serving.
Yeah, it was a blast. Alex and I, we are super hospitality forward and food and beverage oriented. And so that's exactly the way we wanted our wedding to be. So with that, we had to have champagne and caviar just, served as an appetizer for the entire cocktail hour, which was great. Then we had to have a house cocktail, which is my favorite cocktail, the Boulevardier, served on a rock. It was epic. Everybody said they really enjoyed it. I had maybe 2 or 3, and that was awesome. And then, of course, hey, you got
some right here. Might have to drink it this afternoon.
I love it. And then, of course, we had to have non-alcoholic as well. And non-alcoholic is very important because, everybody deserves to have a drink, even if they're not going to be drinking. Your DDs or sober people all need to have them cocktails. And those we had like a cucumber kind of water deliciousness, and then like a sparkling citrus soda, which was a lot of fun. And then, of course, we had to have like something extra special, which between my father-in-law and I, we've got a tequila and bourbon tasting bar throughout the wedding, which was awesome. It was like a Weller, Blanton's, Taylor, all the high-end bourbons, which was a really good blast. I didn't get really to enjoy much of that because I was over shaking hands with everybody, saying hello, because it was 120 people. And then the tequila bar was a Don Julio tasting bar, so all the way from their silver till 1942, which was just a blast. Sipping on a little 1942 right before walking down to the reception to get married to my wife was just perfect. It was just like that exact sip you needed right before you go out there.
Yeah, and I mean, whatever you didn't get to enjoy, I definitely enjoyed. Maybe a little bit too much, but it was a lot of fun. And I remember waking up the day of your wedding, and we went and got brunch, and everyone was just super fucking hungover because the rehearsal was amazing, and again, all those amazing drinks and even more. And I was talking to a couple of the other groomsmen, and we're like, yeah, tonight, like we can't be mixing, because the rehearsal dinner, we were mixing tequila and champagne and bourbon, and I don't even remember what else. And so, the day of the wedding, we're like, okay, we've got to just pick one and stick to it. That lasted for about the cocktail hour. Just stuck with champagne for the cocktail hour. And then, then it was like, oh, well, I've never had 1942. I'll take some of that. And, a couple glasses of that later. And I'm like, oh, Blanton's, I haven't had that in forever. I'll take one of those. And then, you almost forgot about the Amaro and espresso martini bar that was set up later in the night. You forgot about, I didn't forget about that, but and then y'all had my favorite Fernet, and I was like, oh shit, I gotta have a Fernet. And then I was like, man, espresso martinis, like I slept delicious on those until your wedding, because I was like, man, fuck espresso martinis, like I'm not drinking that shit. And I had one, and I was like, damn, this is nice.
It's a little boozed and gets a little drunk at the same time. It's perfect.
I had about 6 of those guys, and I couldn't make it out after the wedding. I know you all went to a bar. Your
just
boy,
for one last night cocktail.
Yeah, your boy did not make it out.
No.
You were repping the shirt at the after party, so I appreciate that. But yeah, it was amazing. Woke up the next morning feeling fantastic. Had a beautiful brunch at your in-laws' house, and the weekend was just phenomenal. So congratulations again.
Thank you.
It was just the most amazing time. And I know I threw this up in the screen. This was one of the wedding favors, or one of the groomsmen favors. It is pre-batch Boulevardier that Mason made. As you can see, I haven't touched it yet. I was kind of waiting for, after recording this as like a little celebratory thing, because I know Mason's got all the stuff to make Boulevardiers at his house.
All the time.
I don't, but now I do. So I'll probably be sipping on that this afternoon as I'm editing this thing, and, getting it all ready for our big relaunch tomorrow. So I kind of now, that's present day. You just got married 2 weeks ago. I kind of want to jump back now to our evolution of drinking, and, how did we get here? Because I don't think you can overlook even if it's a small beverage or something that's like what you drank in college. I'm a firm believer that everything you do gets you to where you are today.
Agreed.
So freshman year at the CIA. I don't remember much of it. No, I remember all of it. But we started with a very specific and a very inexpensive beverage. What was that, Mason?
It's called Four Locos.
Yeah,
they're about
4 Locos.
Yay tall, and they get you wild.
I think it's a 20-ounce can, if I'm not mistaken.
Probably about right.
Yeah,
and
probably
I think
20
the
ounce
deal
can.
was what, 2 for $5?
2 for $5. 1, you were feeling all right. 2, you were not feeling all right the next day. I don't even want to know how many Four Locos we drank that first year. But
too many. That's
too many. And we always put them in like, whatever free water bottle the college gave us, like, whether it was like a running, like a race that happened, or, some sort of little event on campus, they'd always give us these water bottles, and we used them for anything but water. But I think it's important to look back on that because, obviously that was kind of how we got started in the beverage world. I mean, we had beverages before that, but kind of our evolution together as drinking buddies, that's what we could get our hands on. That's what,
at the beginning,
we could find someone who was over 21 to buy us Four Locos. And that was what we had every day, or not every day, but every weekend. And, it was, we probably need to do, like, on one of these podcasts, do like a Four Loco review. Like,
that'd be hilarious. I would love that.
Maybe not all of them, but you definitely got to throw the gold one in there. You got to throw in like the watermelon, the fruit punch, and just
all the shitty flavors.
Yeah, all the shitty flavors. They're so gross. But I don't think I've had one since freshman year, and probably for the better. But I feel like I'm really feeling like we should do that. It's just like I think all of our CIA fam, all of our friends, freshman year and all that stuff, they would appreciate that.
I agree.
So maybe we'll do that in a couple episodes. We'll do a little segment of Four Loco review. I think it could be good. So, but and kind of through college, after freshman year, we became roommates after our externship. We participated in the game day grub match, which we're not even going to get started this podcast. Absolutely not. But yeah.
Episode 23, if you want to hear about it.
Yeah. A couple good things happened from game day grub match. A, we got some scholarship money. B, we were on YouTube. We got to meet some really cool people. We got to cook for a bunch of people. But to me, most important, People's choice.
Oh, sorry. Throw it out there.
Shelling on the Lay's potato chip sand, baby. But to me, the best thing that came from that was the trunk.
The trunk.
We got this basically this like big. I mean, it's like
old fashioned like suitcase trunk. That's really what it was.
And I had a space for a padlock, so we padlocked that baby up, and we just kept our bar in there. We were known as like the guys with basically the full bar in our room. And but we did it responsibly. We made friends with the RA. We made sure that we weren't going to get caught with anything that we weren't supposed to. And we had a pretty good freaking selection in there. Nothing like overly crazy expensive or anything, but we had a good selection of different spirits, and we had Tia Maria. Like for some reason, Tia Maria is like the one thing that like sticks out to me for some reason, which is a coffee liqueur, which I think we probably added to our coffee in the morning. But,
in the morning,
yeah,
get the day started on the weekends.
Yeah, I remember having Bombay Sapphire, some wine.
Bombay Sapphire.
Whew. Yeah, you have some good memories with that, don't you?
Yeah. What was it? My 21st birthday, I think.
I think it was the
21st. We just got a 1 liter bottle, and of course we had 2 more class days left. But of course, start your birthday early, especially if you're turning 21.
Yes, sir.
We started drinking it with some, I think, Sprite or something like that, Sierra Mist maybe. I can't really remember. It's just that's kind of just how he mixed it terribly, and just drank that and drank almost the entire bottle up until 2-3 in the morning. And our class started at 5 in the morning. 6 in the morning.
5, 6 in the morning, too early.
And doing bacon and pastry with, I think his name was Eglinski.
Yeah, Chef Eglinski.
Our chef. And oh my gosh,
man.
Just whew. All I can remember is being told from the chef, I am so surprised you are here, but get back to work.
Yeah. And he's like, we both, you in particular, you drank way more than I did, but we both just like reeked of whatever botanicals they put in Bombay Sapphire. I mean, like juniper and coriander, and I mean, it was like it smelled like we had
snake tree.
Yeah, it smelled like we had bathed in Bombay. And yeah, it was we were pretty slick and good about like, okay, yeah, we drank the night before, but no one can tell. That night everyone could tell. Like we just reeked like, Sprite and fucking and Bombay Sapphire. But those are the memories in college that, we're obviously still talking about it years later. And it's just like, we did a lot of stupid stuff, a lot of crazy stuff, but it all translates to what we're doing now and what we're drinking now. And,
things have kind of evolved.
Yeah. And now, we're drinking 1942 at your wedding, man. Needless to say, that's not what we drink every day. Well, it's not what I drink every day, but
not me either.
It kind of builds your appreciation because we've started from, I would consider Four Loko like the worst of the worst, just really inexpensive and not tasty, to kind of progressing throughout college, and some things have stayed the same. Like I still like Bombay Sapphire. I don't drink much of it, but I think it's good. Still drink Miller High Life like it's water. And
you got that nice connection for that one.
Got the nice connection for that one, but and now we're able to maybe not afford it all the time, but appreciate the finer things in life and the finer liqueurs and wines and things like that, just because we've been through it all. We did our time drinking that cheap stuff. And now, when we have the opportunity, like I love drinking expensive tequilas or bourbons or wines or, and I think it just makes me appreciate it more because of where we've started from. I don't know how you feel about that, but that's kind of how I am.
No, I totally agree. My father-in-law, his name's Kenny. He's an amazing guy, but he was a huge alcohol fanatic. So like just loves having things around and collecting. So he's introduced me to so many things. And one of the main inspirations for the bourbon tequila bar at the wedding. So, great things there.
Yeah. And at their house the day after the wedding, he has like a beautiful wine room and like an amazing selection of bourbons and scotches and whiskeys and wines and ports. I saw maybe some Madeira. I think I saw in there too. So, I definitely had liquor room envy or wine cellar envy after going in there, but
totally, me too, every time.
Hopefully we'll be invited back and we can enjoy some cool stuff. But yeah, just the hospitality was amazing and his selection's amazing. So I hopefully we can enjoy some of that with him soon.
Yeah, agreed.
So yeah, I kind of want to just talk about where you're at now and kind of some of your favorite wines or spirits or beers or kind of what you're into now. It could be anything from daily drinkers to special occasions. We all know where we started, but I kind of want to know where you're at now.
Yeah. Well, as always, the Boulevardier cocktail is my almost always go-to cocktail. But just like any place you're at, I always believe that there is a time and place for a drink of the place, of the occasion. So like for my honeymoon, pina coladas and tequila, those are like my main two. You're on the beach, you're hanging out. I went to Playa del Carmen, Mexico. or excuse me, the Riviera Maya, technically, just south of Playa del Carmen, or for the wedding, Champagne, and of course the Boulevardier can always be there. But like, I don't know, right now I would say my go-to most often is probably the Boulevardier. I really enjoy Buffalo Trace, as just like the simple bourbon. Weller, which is a little more expensive, but when you get it, it's just a lot nicer and tastes a little bit better. If I can get my hands on 1942, love drinking that. But otherwise, like right now, I think I have some Don Julio just extra añejo, which is fantastic as well. Michter's fantastic one. And then if I'm going to drink some Riesling mainly, or Chenin Blanc as my wines, Don Hoff is probably my favorite Riesling there. And then La Hare Ferrer for Champagne, which was the wine of choice at the wedding as well, which was fantastic. It's just a great sparkling wine overall. Yeah, but you kind of just mixed up for whatever the occasion is, whatever you're feeling at that moment during that day. I think I have a little bit of everything myself here. So it's wonderful to have it all, so I can always choose. What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. There's definitely a time and a place for different beverages, different spirits, things like that. And I've been on like a serious Chenin Blanc kick too. And I don't always think about it, but it's something that I'm always like, if I see it on a wine list, I'm like, hell yeah, I want Chenin Blanc, especially if it's from the Loire Valley. It's just like the acidity is like ripping high, super refreshing, lots of like apple and citrus fruits in it. So I've been really into that. I have some Chenin from California as well, which is also fantastic. I've been really into, of course, Champagne. I've been doing a lot of celebrating recently with your wedding, and just got my WSET level 3. So I've been popping
on that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've been popping some champagne recently.
Savory, maybe.
I did on Friday, last Friday. I teach a wine class at my job every other Friday. So this one was on basically the rest of France. So I did Alsace, Loire Valley, Rhone Valley, and Champagne. And I opened a bottle of Charles Heidsieck champagne, just the Brut Reserve, and I was like, we were doing the class, and it came time, and I was like, you guys want to see me savor this bottle? And they're all like, sure. So we like went outside, savored the bottle. Thankfully it didn't blow up on me. And, like I love savoring champagne. Like it's just a fun show. It's just a fun show, and it like gets everyone involved. Like the applause, all that stuff. But definitely a lot of champagne recently. I've been drinking a lot of tequila recently too. I've been really into making my own ranch water, kind of like a good, refreshing, just Topo Chico with a splash of lime. And right now I'm using Luna Azul.
Nice mixer.
Yeah. Super simple Blanco tequila with the Topo Chico is just super refreshing. Some Southern Italian rosé I've been drinking, rosé from Abruzzo, Italy. So, I'm kind of all over the place. Kind of just depends on my mood for the day. Sometimes it's multiple of those things in one day. And of course, if I'm going beer, I'm grabbing a Miller High Life, glass bottles only, please. It's just, that's my drink after a long day of work. When I want something to sip on, that I don't have to think a whole lot about, as far as like pulling out the complexities of a wine, or, maybe I don't want to mix a drink. So I'm just like, it's just snap off that top and, down the hatch it goes. So that's kind of what I've been drinking recently, and, kind of mixing it up a little bit. And as the weather changes too, probably start drinking a little bit more brown liquors or fuller body reds. Champagne, of course, stays always. Agreed. And even if you can't afford champagne, or because champagne prices are getting ridiculous, there's some really great alternatives, Cava, Cremants, even some Prosecco's are really nice. So, drink more sparkling wine.
Agreed.
More sparkling wine.
It's delicious anytime you have it.
Yeah. And every day is a celebration. There's no need to hold that bottle for when am I going to be celebrating? Oh, you woke up this morning, or, oh, you had a great day of work today.
Great
Pop
celebration.
open a bottle, celebrate. You deserve it.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to touch a little bit next on beverage certifications, because not that these are the most important thing in the world, because they're definitely not. But I kind of want to give our listeners context to, like, not only how the fuck do we get here, but who the fuck are we?
Totally.
And do we have any credibility? I mean, maybe we don't still, even with the certifications and stuff, but it could help us. It could help our case a little bit. Right. So I know
it's all for the better.
Yeah. I mean, it can't, I don't think it can hurt us. Yeah, maybe. Right. But because then they'll be like, man, these guys really have no idea what the fuck they're talking about. But we'll let them decide. We'll let our listeners decide on that. So I know that you have your intro SOM through the Quartermaster Sommeliers. When did you get that again?
I think it was 2018, 2019. Okay. I can't really remember. It was like right after I moved to New York. Did for CIA specifically, did the normal culinary cert, or what am I trying to say here? The
2019. March 2019.
See, there you go.
IG has it all, baby.
It does have it all. Got our culinary certification from the CIA, and then went back for the beverage concentration and did the semester away in Napa Valley where I met my wife, and then got my CMS after I moved back to New York, and just got my level 1 there, and just have been super involved in wine and spirits, specifically the world of it, and just wanting to always learn and try and taste and have a good time. And so after getting my level 1, I thought about going back for level 2 or whatever, but for the most part, the majority of the world doesn't know much more than what you need to know for level 1. So I felt confident, and I would learn everything else on my own. And my wife, she is level 3 certified for WSET like yourself, Adam, and level 2 certified for the CMS. So if I need any more information, I always turn to her because she is my rock, my solid. But, for wine and beverage purposes, I just, I think that as long as you try and continuously taste everything, you'll know enough that you can teach everybody you need to know. But it's just all about the enjoyment for me now, that I've gotten my 1 certification and just am knowledgeable about spirits specifically. And then yourself.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you where you're at now. Like I have my intro with the CMS. I got that in 2018, I think. The court had some stuff going on during 2020, 2021. So I kind of decided to change my path and started doing things with WSET, which is Wine Spirits Education Trust, based in London. And I took my level 2, which is, I would say, equivalent-ish to CMS level 1. It's maybe a little bit easier, but it's similar. Passed that in January, and then I immediately signed up I took it in January. I found out I passed in like April or May because they take fucking forever to get you your results back. And then I immediately signed up for my level 3. I took that in August, and I just found out the day before your wedding that I passed my level 3.
And I didn't realize it was the day before. That's awesome.
It was the day before. Yeah. I was like, I kind of kept it to myself though. I was like, this weekend's all about Mason. I'm I think we talked podcasts for a little bit at the rehearsal dinner because we had an idea, or I had an idea come to me, and I was like, sorry man, I gotta run this by you. And then I was like, all right, I gotta type this out because I'm not gonna remember this shit tomorrow. And I'm glad I did, because I was thinking about it the other day and I was like, what were we talking about? And I was like, oh, thank God I wrote that down, because I'm the type of person now, if I don't write things down, it's gone.
It's gone. Agreed.
So yeah, that'll be a podcast in a couple weeks probably. But you know, I was like, this weekend, Mason's wedding. You know, we can talk about WSET later, but yeah. So now that I've passed that, I'm not going any further as of right now. You know, I'm really just trying to get back to enjoying wine, because sometimes not sometimes, but all the time when you're studying for certain certifications or wine, you know, leveling up and being a sommelier, I kind of start to lose what I actually love about wine, and it's enjoying it and talking about it and sharing stories about it. Because you get a little bit too wrapped up in studying note cards, or, you know, trying to memorize every type of soil or every type of climate, and, you know, what regions grow what specific grapes. And yeah, all that stuff's important, but I get a little bit of obsessive about it. Like I've got to know everything, and I've got to know it all now. And to me, you kind of lose some of I lose some of the passion I have for wine, and it becomes not as enjoyable. You know, now I'm happy with what I do know. I'm happy with, you know, or I'm content with what I don't know, or, you know, and I'm always striving to learn more, but, you know, I don't need any more certifications or any more diplomas or anything like that to kind of tell me what I do and what I don't know. So, now it's back to, let's talk about beverage in the podcast. Let's drink good beverages, because really that's kind of what's important now. So yeah, it's that's the certifications that we have. Take it for what it's worth, but you know, now it's just all about having fun with beverage, talking about beverage, and because that's really what excites me, and I think that's probably what excites you too, because if you agreed to be on this beverage podcast, so right. I'm hoping that's what excites you.
Definitely, it's part of the world that we live in and the things we enjoy now.
Yeah, and I think, you know, something that I really enjoyed, and I still I love to blind taste, and I love to just taste wines, but that's a skill. I wanted, yeah. And it's not something I'm really good at. I've got a deviated septum, so I can only smell out of one side of my nose. So my blind tasting skills is that's my weak point, because your sense of smell is 90% of what you taste, if not more. So if you can't really smell that well, it's kind of hard to taste. But, you know, and it's something I've worked really hard on, and something that's developed a lot over the years. And I think we can both attest to this, is tasting wine at just crazy hours of the day, and, you know, just
preparing for those exams. Yeah.
Preparing for the exams, our wine class at CIA, which was a very intense class. And, you know, you're tasting wine in the morning, you're tasting wine late at night. I remember working for a company in Chicago. I was studying for my level 1 CMS, and, you know, I'd work a 12, 13-hour shift. It would be midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, hey man, I'm, you know, to my boss, I'm going home. And he's like, no, you're not. You got to blind taste these 4 wines. And I'm like, dude,
really?
I haven't eaten in 14 hours. I'm fucking tired. I want to go home. And he's like, no, you got to blind taste these wines. And, you know, in the moment I'm like, man, this guy's a pain in my ass. You know, I get what he's doing, and I respect it, and I appreciate it, because it's making me a better sommelier. And, but at the time I was like, man, I'm tired. I just want to go home. But, you know, looking back and the wine class at CIA and all those blind tastings that I did, I don't remember all the wines. But, you know, there were some phenomenal wines, and I think some of that stuff got a little bit lost, just because of the intensity of your blind tasting at 7:30 in the morning or at 1 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, go ahead.
I was just going to say, when you're on that wine class for CIA, it's 3 weeks. So yeah. You get 40, 50 wines, all 4 or 5 a day minimum. And you get just to try it once and you got to memorize it, and that's it.
Yeah. And I mean, for me too, and both of us and a lot of those students at CIA, that wine class, you take it before you're 21. So you're essentially trying wine or tasting wine for the first time, maybe ever, at least wines of quality. So, you're
talking about slamming bag.
Yeah. We'll save that. But, but like you're trying all these wines and you're trying to learn everything you can in 3 weeks. Basically, it's like intro CMS in 3 weeks. You're learning everything, and you're basically starting with, because I had no knowledge about wine. So, and a lot of kids don't, because you're 18, 19 years old, maybe 20. So you're essentially starting from scratch and learning everything. So you're just cramming every day. Like you wake up, study, you go to work, study, you go to class, study, study while you're eating dinner, studying literally everywhere, before bed, doing flashcards,
notes, maps on the walls, everything that you possibly need.
Yeah. And trying all these wines. And, right before I moved down to Georgia, I found my wines binder, which I probably haven't opened since wines was over. And I was looking back at some of the tastings, because we had to do all these tastings. We had to write notes and everything. And I was looking back and I was like, man, we had Veuve Clicquot. We had, some Alsatian Riesling. We had some really awesome producers of Barolo, and we actually drank some older stuff, older sweet Rieslings and ice wines and things like that. I'm like, man, those were some cool ass wines. And we were just like, okay, well, we got to taste all these sweet wines today, and looking back, I'm like, man, I wish I could go back and do those tastings with what I know now, and kind of
enjoy them.
Yeah. And know oh, wow, I recognize all these producers. And at the time I was like, oh, we're drinking a Barolo. I don't even know what that is. But we're drinking one. So, it is kind of crazy that they make, I love that experience, and it, kind of set me on this path. But, just the times that you taste when you're studying, and, kind of how we've gotten started in wine and beverage, it's just kind of a crazy, I miss those times of blind tasting at 1 o'clock in the morning, but at the same time, I'm like, now I can blind taste in the afternoon if I want to,
right. Just have a good time.
It doesn't have to be as intense, it doesn't have to be not intense enough all the time. So
that's not intense enough.
So yeah, and I'm sure you, especially being out in California and stuff, I'm sure you have a lot of stories about blind tasting wine and tasting wine at weird ass hours of the day and night and all that stuff too.
Yeah, our advanced wine class was midday, so you get in by I think 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock, and then you're normally tasting wines probably about 10:30, 11. That was one of the first things that our teacher wanted to do. And then after that, he would just go into the lecture right after. So you get to learn about what you just tasted, but you were already supposed to have read up on everything, of course. So, you're trying to balance it all out.
Right. Yeah. It's, I really wish I would have done that concentration. I mean, I'm glad I did what I did. I went to Italy for a semester, the same time you went to California, which is one of the few semesters we didn't room together. But, I think our paths and where they are now, again, wouldn't be where we are today if we didn't go down those paths. So, I'm super grateful, and, got to see a lot of cool shit in Italy and write a thesis paper on Barolo and Barbaresco and Nebbiolo, which is still probably the most boring fucking piece of literature, or not even literature, the most boring paper ever. I always tell people, because, people are like, oh, what should I drink? I'm like, oh, always Barolo, always Barbaresco. And they're like, why? And I'm like, it's the king and queen of Italian wine, and, all this shit. And they're like, really? And I'm like, yeah, if you want something to help you fall asleep at night, I've got a 10-page paper on Nebbiolo. No one's taken me up on reading it, but,
maybe one of these days.
Yeah.
Maybe after this podcast.
Yeah, maybe after that. I'll send it to you, Mason. You can read it, and I want your critiques of it.
All right, probably A+.
I wrote it 2017. So a long ass time ago, five years ago. It's crazy that we graduated 5 years ago.
I know, that is
from
crazy.
bachelor's, from associates, it's been 6 years now. I mean, it's just crazy that time flies this fast.
Yeah, definitely. It's just been a wild journey, and the ups and downs, left and right, that you have to take. But now we get to finally do this together, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm stoked. And I kind of want to start to wrap things up. I know you got a busy day ahead, so the last thing that I want to talk about today, just as like a last little intro to us. Obviously, people get to know us more as we start doing more of these podcasts. And the podcast will become a little bit more, I won't say well put together, but with more experience, obviously things get better. My video production skills are shit, so I'm sure they'll be, a little less shitty as we go on. But the last thing I kind of want to touch on is, what would be your last beverage instead of a last meal? What would be kind of the last beverage you would have, if your time was over? I know it's like super dark and sinister and stuff, but people are always asking, it's always like an icebreaker question, like, what's your last meal?
Yeah.
We're a beverage podcast. What's your last beverage or beverages? Yeah. You can have more than one if you want.
Well, of course, the Boulevardier, can't go wrong with that. But if I couldn't have that, or if that wasn't going to be the last beverage, I might have just like a classic martini, blue cheese olives, or something like that. Or
gin or
one of my
vodka?
favorite, always gin.
Always gin, good man.
Always gin. But I like vodka, but I need a little more flavor. Anyways, if I had to choose something else, one of my other favorite spirits is a sweet spirit. It's called Pomo. It's like an apple liqueur, and it's super delicious, super apple forward. And it's just like a nice sipper to kind of finalize the night, or just finalize the last drink, go out with a sweet bang. That's it. It's all over after that.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Yeah. But, I don't know. It's, again, probably in the moment would choose something that made sense for that time. And that's just how I kind of like to drink. But those are probably the top three right now.
Nice.
What about yourself?
Yeah, I mean, that's a fantastic selection. Mine would be, you already know what it is, Miller High Life.
Miller High Life.
It's just easy drinking. The champagne of bottled beers. Got the tattoo on my thigh. High Life, if you ever want to sponsor this podcast, we're pretty inexpensive. Throw us a couple cases of High Life, and maybe some merch, because they just dropped a new merch line yesterday. It is fucking sick. I almost just put it all on my credit card, but I'm holding off. I'm like, Christmas is coming up. Maybe someone will get me some High Life merch. But yeah, it would be Miller High Life, out of a glass bottle only. And just maybe 1, 2, 3 of those, and then, it's a wrap.
I love it.
So yeah, I mean, even though we're beverage guys, we still we like the classics. We like, inexpensive things too. And, I think it's a good blend of what we drink today and how we've gotten here. And, I hope we answered the question of how the fuck did we get here? If you like this podcast, make sure you, rate us on Spotify, rate us on wherever you're listening to this, Anchor, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, all those good things. Check out our YouTube channel, check out our social media at Assemblage Bevco, check out Mason, check out myself on Instagram, Facebook, all those good things. And the last thing I want to kind of plug is our new merch that's coming out tomorrow, or when this podcast comes out, it'll be live. You can find that all at www.assemblagebevco.com. And we got some podcast merch. We got some hats. We got some koozies. We got some really cool stuff. Mason, I'm sending you yours today. And, some really cool stuff. Check out our website. Again, www.assemblagebevco.com. And, until next time, Mason, you got anything else, man?
Just thanks for joining us, y'all. Just excited.
Yeah, it's start of a new chapter. Again, this was episode number 24. How the fuck did we get here? Mason, I'll catch you soon. Have a great day. And
you as well, Adam.
Until next time.
Until next time.
All right. Peace, bro.
See you.